Hi everyone. Today I will try to go through the past paper, the S1 final exam past paper. I will try to separate the videos into several sections. Okay, maybe the first section is related to true or false. The second sections will be related to the multiple choice. So you can base on your preference. Maybe I have some questions related true or false. Then in this case, you can try to find the questions in the true or false videos. So maybe let us go through the questions in the true or false question first for these videos. Okay, so first of all, we will try to have a look on these questions, and I'll try my best to um, maybe mm, maybe do some debriefings on why the answer will be true or false. Okay, so you can mark down the notes when you're watching the videos. Okay, so DNA can be found in animal cells but not in plant cells. So in fact the statement would be false, because for the DNA it is a type of genetic materials, and for the genetic materials in fact it can be found in both animal cells and also the plant cells, but not only in the animal cells. Secondly, for the second questions, because it is asking about the human sex cell, the sex cells meaning that, for example, what will be the example of the sex cells? For example, maybe the sperm cell or maybe the ovum cells. So in this case, in fact, these would be the cells that they are already divided. So in this case, they will only contain 23 chromosomes. So therefore, the answer here would be true. Okay, there is no any variation for question number 3. Okay, there is no any variation within the same kind of living things. So in this case, for what means same kind of living things, meaning that it is the same species. For example, me and you are same kinds of living things. We are both of us, we are human, okay, Homo sapien, okay. So in this case, okay, we can see that our face, my face, in fact, is different from your face. So in this case, we do have some genetic variations. So in this case, the answer for question number 3 would be false. And then for fourth, okay, feathers can keep warm because it will trap the air, within the clothes, so that it can help us to keep warm. And the trapped air, in fact, is a type of poor conductor of heat. So air, in fact, we can notice that, okay, it is a type of good insulator. Good insulator, in fact, it also having the same meanings as the poor conductor. And in this case, in fact, it will try to lower the speed of the conduction of the heat. So in this case, to trap the air will somehow, it would be a poor conductor. And this can help us to keep warm rather than losing or uh, conducting the heat from our body towards to the surrounding too fast. So in this case, therefore, the answer would be true. So you may ask a question, so why the feather can keep or it can trap the air? Because there is a lot of layers, okay, inside the feathers, and these filaments or these layers will help to trap the air so that it can help to reduce the heat loss. Okay, and for the fifth questions, okay, the hot air rise because it is less dense than cold air. So as you know, for this year the exam coverage is somehow a little bit narrower, because we do not have enough time in teaching all the contents, the book. Okay, so in this case, we did not talk about how the temperature affect the density. And but based on something that you have already learned, in fact, we will notice that, in fact, when the temperature increase, the things will expand, right? So once it expands, meaning that the volume will increase too. Expansion, it will increase the volume. So if you still remember, we have tried to do some mathematical calculations in the density that subchapter. Then in this case, you will notice that once the volume is increased while the mass is remain unchanged, then in this case, the density will be lower. So in this case, the hot air will rise. This is because it is less dense than the cold water. sorry, the cold air. So in this case, this also explained why when we try to have the convection, why the hot liquid or the hot air will try to move or upward. This is due to the decreasing in the density. So question number 6, in our body, all the energy from the food is changed into the chemical energy to keep our body warm. So for the type of energy inside the food, it would be the chemical energy. Okay, the chemical energy. For the chemical energy, in fact, um, not all the chemical energy will be converted into thermal energy to keep our body warm, because throughout the process, some of the chemical energy will be stored in our body. For example, will be served as a lipid. So in this case, some of the chemical energy from the food will transform into the chemical energy inside our body. Apart from that, it also will transform into kinetic energy inside our body. So in this case, rather than it will change into the thermal energy, it will also change into the kinetic energy. Okay, change into the kinetic energy. Okay, kinetic energy, or the chemical energy inside our body. Okay, so next, okay, matter is made up of tiny particles which can be observed under the light microscope. So in this case, some tiny particle, in fact, they could not observe under the light microscope. Then what are those? Okay, or what will be these particles? For example, maybe the air particles. So in fact, we could not see the air particles, okay, inside or under the light microscope, because it is too small to be seen in the light microscope. Then you may ask a question, oh, sir, I still remember that maybe in a practical experiment, we can see some particles that in the dark boxes, right? So in fact, these particles is not the air particles, it is the smoke particles. Inside this, the dark box, okay, or the black box, okay, of the particle, in fact, it is the smoke particle, but not air particle. So in this case, the smoke particle, in fact, is a lot larger in size. So in this case, we can see the smoke particle. However, for the air particle, it is even smaller. Then in this case, we cannot observe under the light microscope. So therefore, the answer will be false. Sorry, for the question number 6, the answer will be also false too. Next, water can exist as solid, liquid, and also gas. So in this case, we will notice that, okay, water, if it is in the solid form, then in this case, it would be ice. Liquid, then in this case, it would be in water form. And while for the gas, it would be in both steam and also the water vapor. So in this case, we can see that water can exist in both solid, liquid, and also gas. So in this case, it will be true. Next, metal can conduct heat faster than the wood. So if you still remember from the particles that we try to provide you different types of materials, and you will see that the metals will warm up, okay, a lot faster. The whole metal rock, okay, it will warm up a lot faster once we place into a beaker of hot water. So in this case, we can see that most of the metals, they can conduct heat faster than wood. So in this case, the answer would be true. Okay. Next, solid and also liquid do not expand when they are heated. So in fact, definitely it would be false. Why? Because both solid and liquid, they can expand a little bit when they are heated. So if you still remember the thermal expansion, in fact, it happened in all the stages. All the state. So for example, it will happen in both solid, liquid, and also the gas state. So in this case, all three states, it will also appear the thermal expansion. And for the thermal expansion, maybe for solid, it just expand a little bit. Maybe it is quite difficult for us to observe, but it do expand, okay? While for the liquid, it expand not that much, while Yes, okay. I mean, liquid, it will expand a little bit more than the solid, while gas, it will be expand a lot more than these two states. So in this case, the gas state, okay, the gas state, it will have the highest expansion. Okay, so this will be the debriefing of the true or false question. So if you have any questions related to this, maybe you can ask me in the Google Classroom. Okay, so thank you very much, and the next video will be related to the multiple choice.